I don't know if you've noticed, but Riot sorta has a thing with the demon list. In 2020, the old impossible level Tartarus was placed at number 1 position on the demon list. However, unlike most other top 1s of its era, it stayed in that position for over a year. It had appeared that its difficulty was so supremely challenging that it took over a year for a creator to make a layout that was harder, yet still within the skill level of players of that day. During its year-long reign, there were a few attempts that were made to surpass it. All failed, until the fateful day that we all know when the 3 top 1 extreme demons were all raided in one day, the Chaos. Since then, we've had multiple levels that have placed above Tartarus. In fact, so many levels that Tartarus is now sort of 25. And multiple levels have taken the throne of the hardest level in the game. In fact, there seemed to be a new top 1 every 2 to 3 months. Slaughterhouse was surpassed by Sekupin Circles, Sekupin Circles was then passed by Slaughterhouse, which was then passed by Abyss of Darkness, which was then passed by Slaughterhouse again, and then Silent Clubstep, technically, and then it all stopped when Riot, again, had another one of his projects verified, which was of course, the top 1 extreme demon that we have today, Acheron. Now Acheron was once again another crazy level that was above the skill limit of basically everything else on the list, much like Tartarus when it was first verified. In fact, the level has kept its top 1 position for the same amount of time that Tartarus has, and is yet to be dethroned. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see a pattern here. Every time a top 1 Riot mega collaboration is verified, it seems to dominate the demon list for pretty much a year. Which then brings us to our next topic. Riot has made a little teaser on an upcoming level called Aeternus, or Eternal. Basically it's another entry in the Tartarus/Acheron family, and people are already saying that this level is impossible. People are saying that not even the GD pro player community in its current state would be good enough to beat something of this immense difficulty. And I have a feeling that if this gets verified, it's probably going to do the same thing that both Tartarus and Acheron have done, which is dominate the demon list for another year or more. But it's going to be a good few years until that happens, and I think Acheron's reign on the demon list is starting to come to an end, so the question is, what's going to happen to that top 1 position in between Acheron and Eternal? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Now the first thing that we need to immediately bring to attention is the recently verified top 1 extreme demon Tidal Wave, which I've already covered multiple times on my other videos on this channel, which you should probably go and check out. Anyway, everyone is certain that this level is top 1 due to its abnormally large length for such a hard level, and its brutal wave section and 150 frame perfects, which may or may not make things harder. It is pretty certain that this will place in the top 1 position. However, there are other potential top 1 projects that are just over the horizon, and you know what else is just over the horizon? 2.2. For the sake of the video, I'm only going to talk about top 1 extreme demons that are currently in the verification process and will not be updated for 2.2. The first of these is the Apocalyptic Trilogy, which is the founding level for AP team, which in case you don't know, the A and the P in the AP team literally stands for Apocalyptic Trilogy. So this is their big level, so of course it's going to be the hardest 2.1 level they'll ever make. And if it's verified, it'll probably take that top 1 position from Tidal Wave, because the Apocalyptic Trilogy is basically super buffed after Catabath, which in other words is 5 minutes long of bloodlust-like gameplay, and the verifier, Trick, already has 68 to 100% on it, so it is probably the most likely level to come along and dethrone Tidal Wave. And if this is the case, then Tidal Wave will make it into the record books for one of the shortest reigning top 1s on the demon list, so I'm going to place the Apocalyptic Trilogy above Tidal Wave. Then of course we have possibly the largest and longest mega collaboration in the game, Flamewall. Flamewall is a shocking 6 minutes and 45 seconds long, and it will be verified by 1 Alpha Helix. The hardest thing about this level is of course the endurance needed to beat it. At the current time it is said to be top 1. 1 Alpha Helix says that the base gameplay is easier than anything on the top 10, except for codependence for obvious reasons. But the fact that it's mainless gameplay for nearly 7 minutes means that it is highly likely to be harder than Acheron. Currently 1 Alpha Helix has 33 and 69 to 100 on the level at the moment, so it could potentially be verified around the same time as the Apocalyptic Trilogy, but there are more questions as to whether Flamewall is actually harder than Tidal Wave, as despite Tidal Wave being 3 minutes shorter, there's also 3 minutes of probably Slaughterhouse level gameplay, so there's a good chance that Tidal Wave is harder than Flamewall. Well, they did always say that water doused fire. so I'm going to place Flamewall at 3. Now, Injury. This one is sort of weird because we don't have many opinions on the level. Injury was made by the creator Griefer, which is meant to be a slaughterhouse style level that probably wasn't even meant to be verified. However, a very talented player by the name of Kiwi managed to get an incredible 85% on the layout. And I don't know if the layout has been nerfed or not, but the level is now fully decorated and there hasn't been any new progress, but there is easily potential that this could be verified soon and placed at top 1. On the difficulty, I don't have a clear idea on how hard it is, but to me it basically looks like Slaughterhouse but much harder, and despite its short length, I believe that it has enough compressed difficulty to possibly rival Tidal Wave. So I'm going to put it just below Tidal Wave. Vehemence is a level that I keep forgetting exists for some reason, but it's another upcoming top 1 that could also be close to verification. Vehemence was a level that was built to be the best upcoming top 1, much like the Apocalyptic Trilogy. It was going to be verified by Radium, who managed to get 62 to 100% with around 250,000 attempts. Sadly, he recently got a hand injury and had to drop the level, and it has been given to Poltergeist, who in July has managed to get 23 to 43%, and there's been no further progress for now. I feel like it could be a decent amount of time until this level is verified. On the difficulty, pro players have been saying that Vehemence is a lot harder than it looks, much like Tidal Wave, and there are specific sections where the level is incredibly difficult. I might place this one above Tidal Wave, but below the Apocalyptic Trilogy at this stage. Now the next 2 entries on the list are pretty interesting, as they're both former ILL levels that are either being verified in their current state, or with a few buffs to make them harder than what they're originally intended to be. So in other words, we have a way of judging how hard they are compared to everything else through the actually incredibly helpful impossible levels list, which not only holds the approximate difficulties for impossible levels, but also a few list demon levels as well, including Acheron, so we'll mostly be able to judge the difficulty based on their impossible counterparts. Firstly, Silent Acropolis. Silent Acropolis was an incredibly buff version of Zobros' famous level called Acropolis, which was made by the famous impossible level creator DanMaster007. Septagon managed to get a few crazy no-clip runs on this level, and then it was given to the Purgatory for redecoration. Currently the verifier of this level is Ravez, and they have 58% to 100% already. The interesting thing about this level specifically is that unlike every other former impossible level that's been verified and placed at top 1, this level has no nerfs whatsoever and is the original impossible Silent Acropolis, which means either that getting this run already is absolutely insane, or 58 to 100% is the easiest part of the level. Because this level currently places on 426 on the ILL, or in other words, that's harder than Minus World, Aiden's Azure Flare, Eternal Night, Orochi, this pretty much wipes out all the other potential top 1 competition, except for maybe Aternus. However, due to its insane difficulty, it will be a long time until this level is verified. However, Ravez is an incredibly determined player, and it is highly likely that he will see this level through to its end, as he is a person who's been known for beating Slaughterhouse after 400,000 attempts. I'm easily going to place this one at number 1 above the Apocalyptic Trilogy. Now for the final level that I'm going to talk about today is Sweeping Demon 2. Sweeping Demon 2 was a level made by well-known gameplay creator called Temp. Sweeping Demon 2 was built to be impossible, however the pro player Thunder GD decided that he was going to push the limits of the game and try to verify it. However, not only did Thunder decide that he was going to verify it, but also buff it as well, so that it truly reaches his skill limits. In other words, the version that Thunder is verifying is harder than the one on the ILL. The version on the ILL is placed at 534, which is harder than unnerfed Yatagarasu, but not nearly as hard as Silent Acropolis. Currently Thunder has runs of 71 to 100% and 21 to 50% on a nerfed copy, so it'll be a decent while until this one is verified, and we haven't seen any progress runs on it for 4 months. As for where I think we're placed, probably going to go above the Apocalyptic Trilogy because of the buffs, but below Silent Acropolis. So, those are my opinions on what could happen to the Demonlist after Acheron but before Aternus. And of course, since 2.2's release is imminent, we could randomly get a few 2.2 extreme demons that get that top 1 spot as well due to all the new gameplay features that pro players are not used to. Then there's always the chance that the multi-year verification projects could end up randomly getting verified, such as Azure Flare or Kugelblitz's Death Corridor, that could really shake up the demon list. And of course there's always a whole bunch of secret projects that are going on that of course no one is really aware of until they get verified. And it's confirmed that Savant is working on some sort of top 1 secret project which is coming out as well, which is a video itself. The demon list overall can be pretty unpredictable at times, as we all know, but this is how I predict the hardest levels in the game are going to be placed, and it's going to be pretty interesting to look back at this video in the future. But that's all from me in this video, and enjoy the credits.